Hello, everyone. This is meteorologist Ted Keller. It's a Friday afternoon on the 24th here in May. Hot and humid, or at least humid outside. It's clouding up outside my window. I'm recording this just before 3 o'clock. And so the reason I'm doing this is because we have a couple of days in a row here of severe weather potential, actually including today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Each of them has a slightly different threat level and a slightly different characteristic to it. So I thought a video was in order. So let's start with the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks. These are very handy. We should be privileged that we live in a country where this kind of stuff is watched 24/7. And the outlooks like this are issued quite frequently. So anyway, this is for today, what remains of today. And just to let you know, the dark green is the first level of severe weather threat. It's called marginal. Then we go to yellow, which is slight risk, which pretty much describes the Ozarks here this afternoon. And then we go to the next one, which is orange. That's called enhanced. And then there's also a red, moderate, and then a purple, which is high, which we never want to see. So all of those are relative threat levels. So there's 5 levels. So you can see the Ozarks are in level 2, the yellow. And there's a little few pockets here and there of elevated risk, Oklahoma, Texas, down or up around Kirksville, Quincy, Illinois, that area. Okay, so there's definitely a western shutoff to this, and that's where the unstable air pretty much stops. This will not really move through the Ozarks. It'll kind of get hung up out here. So that puts us in play for severe weather. So in other words, we don't have a cold front that's lowering the humidity and stabilizing the air. That's not moving through, and at least not until the end of this period, Sunday night. So that's today's risk. I want to go ahead and show you radar real quick. I think I can do. Should I do that now? Yeah, let's go ahead and go to here. There is the radar. Still getting used to this. Anyway, this is live radar. Again, it's just about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a couple of showers popping up upstate around the state capitol there, a little bit to east of there, and down to about Lebanon. There's also some hints, if you look very carefully, at some showers redeveloping in this area here. I think this is the northern end of that enhanced area. So in other words, I think that'll continue to develop, but we'll do a better job in that direction, down deeper into Oklahoma. Meanwhile, this activity is moving off to the east, and there's some small hail indicators in this already. And I think anywhere in this area, a thunderstorm could pop up. The forcing for it is not great. The wind shear in the atmosphere is just enough to hold a supercell together, which is what supercells need to have long life and to produce more severe weather. They need structure that holds them together, produced by the wind, and that is kind of on the fence in the Ozarks today. But I think more to the north, it's a little bit better. That's why we have that enhanced area up in northeastern Missouri and down to the south in Oklahoma and Texas. So we're kind of in the middle of those two areas somewhere. So what does that mean for us? That means that today's severe weather risk, while it is not zero, is probably not terribly impressive. So I'm not real too concerned about it right now. Now, this is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for tomorrow, and this is a moderate risk. We've had this several times this year. The last one was for the tornadoes in Iowa that you remember seeing a few days ago. This one covers a large part of Kansas and Oklahoma, and just recently this afternoon has bumped into extreme western Missouri with a slight risk encompassing that. So most of the Ozarks, enhanced and slight, so most of the Ozarks are in an area. Now, this is a very typical scenario where thunderstorms are expected to erupt something like this, either scattered and isolated or discrete at first and then forming a line, or staying discrete. Some of the model data here lately has maybe wanted to form a line out of this, whereas that wasn't the case earlier when I was looking at this. In any event, it'll physically take time for them to roll across the plains and get to the Ozarks. So this is another scenario where we start to see this knocking on our door mid to late evening, overnight hours, whatever's left from those thunderstorms. Will they still be potent? Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance of that. Even though they naturally sort of weaken overnight in most cases, thunderstorms, that's not always the case. So this is something that just has to be, we have to keep an eye on very, very carefully. The tornado risk is pretty substantial. Again, this rivals what was issued for Iowa back a couple of days ago, and that's a 15% probability. If you're not familiar with these probabilities like 5 and 10 and 15, that just means that is the chance of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile circle where you live. So at 25 miles around your town, there's a 15% chance of seeing a tornado in this area of red. Additionally, the hatching you see there actually means there's a stronger than normal or higher than normal probability of a strong tornado. So tornadoes go from EF0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the 3, 4, 5 part is what they're talking about when they hatch. In other words, not only is there a 15% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles, but there's a higher chance that it'll be a significant tornado, a stronger tornado. So that's for tomorrow, and I will likely be out in the high plains chasing those storms tomorrow during the day. Then we have the day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center that still includes the Ozarks. See, the unstable air never really went anywhere. You can always tell the back edge of it right there, but there's a large slight and enhanced area on Sunday of severe weather as well. That's less defined now because, again, the more you go out in time, first of all, the models are less accurate, but also thunderstorms themselves can affect where boundaries are and drastically change that outlook, especially if you're out more than a day or so. So that's kind of a review. Now let's take a look at some of the actual data that's out there. I'll get rid of the radar, and we'll take a look at this is one of the models we look at. It's called the NAM. This was from this morning. This is showing the alleged radar here at 7 o'clock tonight. Not a lot of activity, but this matches very well with what I just showed you. The activity in northeast Missouri moving this way, maybe some stuff filling in here, maybe a little bit more aggressive with this activity later on tonight. In any event, that won't affect us, so I'm not really going to show it. What I will show, though, is this thing I was talking about with shear. So what you're looking for here, generally speaking, so the shear right around here is just around 30. See those numbers that are popping up there? Maybe it's a little small to see, but southwest Missouri at 7 o'clock tonight, lower 30 wind shear. 30 is kind of the lower threshold of what we're looking at to organize cells. It's much better in northern Missouri, as you can see here, in the purple colors in the 40s and 50s, and it's better down here in Oklahoma and Texas. So that's one of the things. Now, in terms of unstable air, there's plenty of that. So we're looking at CAPE. That's a value I use a lot on my explanations here. But, purple is worse, and the red colors are pretty bad, and then the blues are not too bad at all. So, yes, we have unstable air, but not much of a triggering mechanism here, and not enough really overall wind shear to hold a lot of supercells together. One or two, especially if aided by an old boundary or something, could actually flare up. So that's why we're in a slight risk for today. Now let's fast forward. We'll just keep the instability up here, and we'll look at, this is 0Z tomorrow. So this is 24 hours later. 0Z is 7 o'clock in the evening around here this time of year in the central time zone. Look at the unstable air that's being produced here. This is monstrous. These values are over 5,000. That's really high. A lot of that is because, A, the dew points are very high in Oklahoma tomorrow. As a matter of fact, that's one thing we can look at. If we just look at dew point temperatures right here, they're in the low to mid 70s right here. That is juicy, 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 juicy air. So if you want to make an atmosphere unstable, heat and moisten the bottom or cool the top, cool the middle somehow. That's two really easy ways to do it, and that's exactly what's happening here, by the way. So we'll continue to look at these. We'll look at the shear now, and that's for tomorrow. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Ample shear here, 50 to 60 is showing up here in the purple, but notice it's adequate here in the Ozarks, so anything that comes across, so to speak, will find itself still in a very favorable shear environment and probably an unstable environment as well. We'll look at the fantasy radars here in just a minute. And then if you're looking for tornado potential, there's kind of a cheat out there that combines a bunch of parameters. This right here is contamination likely from a cell. But these values here are pretty high. Anything above 3 is something worth looking at, depending on the situation, maybe less. But you're seeing very strong values here. So that's for tomorrow. That's that outbreak area almost exactly defined. That shading right there almost exactly matches the 15% I just showed you. So that'll kind of give you an idea of where that is going. And again, we'll look at the fantasy radars here in a minute. Let's go back to the unstable air and go one more day ahead. Now this is 0Z on Sunday. So again, unstable air across much of southern Missouri, east central Missouri, down into Oklahoma. So we still have enough unstable air to at least form thunderstorms. The shear on Sunday, while it's weaker in southwest Missouri, is stronger on both sides of us. So just a little bit of error one way or the other. And by the way, weaker is almost adequate enough considering the instability. So I would not take Sunday off the table for southwest Missouri at all, simply because that shear divides itself in two like that. And the dew points, as we talked about, they're not going anywhere because there's nothing to drive them out, really, nothing to dry out the air. So If you look at dew points on Sunday, we're in the low 70s here, and you could tell today even it's very muggy. The humidity, we've gotten to that point in late May and June now where the humidity is back. So get used to seeing that. Now for the radar, the NAM, a lot of these models don't do a great job at simulating reflectivity or radar echoes, is what you would know them as. So we're going to switch to the high resolution model. Now the latest one here at 18Z actually goes out far enough, but oh, it is in. Okay, good. So let's switch to radar here, reflectivity, and let's go back to square one. So we want 6 hours into the future. So this is tonight. At 0Z tonight. See scattered storms here and there. You know, again, a couple of these could kick up their heels, but more likely closer to the better shear here and closer to the better shear here. Although some of these out here might be more unstable air, and that may overcome some of the other deficiencies in the atmosphere. Sometimes that happens. All right. So now we'll go 12. Let's see. Now we want to add 12 and 6. We want to go 18 hours into the future. Now this is interesting. Wait a minute, this is Saturday morning. How about another 6? There, 18Z. That's 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Let's go to here. This is 0Z or 7 p.m. tomorrow, and these are the beginnings of what I'm almost certain are going to be tornadic supercells, or at least they're going to be rotating for sure. A supercell is a rotating storm. So that's at 7, and then at 8 o'clock. We see a little bit more upscale growth, and at 9 o'clock, let's see here. Where'd I go? Oh, did I skip too far ahead? Where'd I go here? Sorry about that. Let's see. I completely lost my place. See, Saturday. Oh, here we go. Saturday, 22. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm clicking the button too much now. It doesn't want to play anymore. There it is. Okay, there's those cells. Okay, sorry about that. So that's 8 o'clock at night. That's 9 o'clock at night. So you can see they're remaining discrete, but also trying to form a line. You can even see a hook echo in that one right there. Look at that. So that's interesting. And then again, we just kind of move forward in time here. So this starts to approach the Ozarks. This is 4Z. So this is 11 o'clock at night, just kind of knocking on the door of Missouri and Arkansas there. Again, they're remaining fairly discrete, but that is actually bad news in the sense that this means that tornadic cells will probably last a little bit longer without being as part of a line per se, generally speaking. But anyway, so that's what that looks like. And then I don't know if we can go far enough into the future with this model to talk about Sunday. Yeah, there's 15Z on Sunday. That's 10 o'clock in the morning. Looks like the remnants of some sort of squall line from the night before are kind of draping down across the Ozarks like that. And then we'll go for, and this is the last one I can look at. So this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, so far nothing is showing up. But like I said, I think there's enough unstable air there on Sunday to repeat, rinse, wash, repeat. So that's what we're looking at. So to kind of sum it up this afternoon, isolated cells, more likely to be severe, I think far enough displaced from the southwest corner of Missouri as to not to be too much of a concern. Just keep an eye out for a storm or two. Tomorrow, we're just looking at our watch, waiting for the activity to get in here late evening and in the overnight hours. Sunday, I think all bets are off. I think it could form right over the Ozarks and then move east with enough unstable air and wind shear to produce severe weather. That's your summary. If I've got more updates for you, I will certainly bring them to you. Thanks.